moving back, moving back to move forward. So there were. I'll carry on with the techniques because what I would like to see is people going out and doing this. It's a bit
Ah,
like, again, like Cliff says, right? So Cliff says, don't believe what I say. Go out and prove it to yourself. So get your
yeah.
digital cameras out. I'll give you another good one for anyone to try. Everyone's bound to have a mirror. People usually brush their hair or something like that. Yeah,
Sometimes, yeah.
although my wife doesn't, but no. So or so she says anyway. Um, get your mirrors out. Get them out in the back garden or something, and get them out in rain.
Yeah.
And take photographs. Angle the mirror away from you and take photographs of that mirror. And eventually you will get an orb in front of that mirror. And eventually that orb will reflect in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's raining,
Mm-hmm.
you will see the moisture running down the front of the mirror,
Yes.
which will obscure the reflected image behind or in the mirror. So you will know the difference between an orb that's in front of the mirror and the water that is running down the surface of the mirror, which will create a blurred image. Any orb in front of it will appear clear
Mm-hmm.
and in front of the mirror. Any orb that is reflecting its light onto the surface of the mirror, like the gravitational lensing, which isn't gravitational lensing, it's magnetic reflection. So it will be reflecting from the mirror. And that's a very simple one, um, but it'll take time for people to capture that in the right conditions,
Yeah.
and just go out and model it.
Yeah.
Um, I do have
Well,
a little bit of a reserve towards that evidence because because of a very strange thing. It's like as though the orbs will divide and copy each other, and then they move together.
mm, mm,
Right
mm,
now, that is a
mm.
problem because I got some that I would swear are a reflection in the pond surface.
Yeah.
Um, but there's the reflected image is not as bright as the main image. It's on the
Yeah.
pond surface. The orb is above the pond surface, but the image on and in the pond or reflecting from the pond surface is bigger than the original, even though it's got the hole in it
Mm-hmm.
that runs, and the hole is then, the inversion you get in the mirror, left to right and right to left.
Yeah.
Even though the hole is inverted,
Mm-hmm.
it's something telling me that it may be there may be something to do with the entangled particle rather than anything else, where there are the orb is divided and they seem to move together. Now
Yeah.
that was what I was finding. Um, so so it's just a thing that I would suggest that anyone get your
Yeah.
cameras out. So after that, or during that period, we went into digital film.
Yeah.
Um, we knew from the 50 sequence photographs that the stones fired out the bars, and the bars have got the orbs inside them. So we filmed the tips of the stones and recorded the same in digital video.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done that. We've basically recorded the bars that divide. So
Yeah.
they divide. So it'll give an explanation and this may this will take a bit of understanding. Do you know the observer experiment?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Do you know the double slit experiment?
No, I don't do
You don't.
science.
Right. Okay.
I do
And
energy,
anyway,
but
it'll
not
give an answer
science.
to that thing. um,
Okay.
so the techniques we developed over time, this rapid shooting,
Yeah.
video recording with two cameras.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
uh,
hopefully you'll inspire people to get out there with
yeah,
their cameras
yeah,
and see for themselves.
yeah. So it's it's a thing that anybody can copy and mirror.
Yeah. Great, Paul.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get out there and try it.
Yeah.
My next question is from forum member Jules again.
Yeah.
And he asks, you mentioned in your book, if enough of the orbs break down, mist will form. This reminded me of Jay Widener, who talks about an elixir of life that could be brewed from the fresh dew in the morning before touching the earth. And he's wondering if these orbs could be the essence for the elixir of life, and if ingested orally, could it provide some sort of rejuvenation? Have you ever tried cutting and brewing branches from the hawthorn trees you saw the orbs exchanging energy with?
Many people have over time suggested that there were key time to harvest herbs, the
Right,
day
yeah,
before the full moon and whatever.
yeah,
And
or
this is where
morning, yeah, morning or
morning,
whatnot, yes.
you know. So I would say that I haven't studied the elixir of life, and G. Weiner, I've seen some of his work, but I can't really comment on that. But let's take the orb delivering energy to a plant,
Mm-hmm.
and delivering energy to all right. I'll talk about one photograph now. I had sciatica,
Yeah.
and I was in the woods leaning over a tree, stretching it because it was quite painful, and an orb was attached to the exact point of where those discs were rubbing, causing the sciatica. Now, that is not the first time that has happened, because a friend of mine had a virus infection, and these viruses exploded into like boils, which were the size of a twopence piece.
Mm-hmm,
Right?
mm-hmm,
So they were like a hole, like a volcanic hole, and orbs were attaching to that. So
mm-hmm.
what I would suggest, and again, this would need to be experimented on, and there is so much to do. That it would
Mm-hmm.
take the world's scientists time to get hold of this and get their teeth into it to sort it
Yeah.
out. And each specialist in each area, like working on those things. So
Mm-hmm.
so the orb is the placebo.
Ah, okay.
That, so the so when people go, oh well, the placebo works with 30% of the people, and you get a 30% success rate. Those are the people who are not right. You have to be
No, I'm
connected.
following what you're saying. Yeah. You're
You
saying
have
you're saying that there's something else going on, and what we describe as a placebo may be these orbs at work.
right, but you have to right. Um, there is to receive this energy, you have to be connected to the Earth's fields.
Ah, yeah.
Now, let's say that someone is in trauma. You
Mm-hmm.
can talk about the Illuminati if you want to. They're all in trauma. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're all disconnected. They all hate nature.
Mm-hmm.
The scientists all hate nature.
Mm-hmm.
But in that disconnection, that healing process is shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not connected. You cannot receive this energy, and it shuts them off to the receipt of the energy.
Yes.
I often say, be like a tree. Just live the laws of the planet and
Mm.
receive the energy, because
Mm-hmm.
it would take us into the healing
Mm-hmm.
processes that we talk about,
Yeah.
which is connecting to the fields of energy, and then receiving the energy. So that's how I see it.
Yes. Well, you've put it beautifully. I thank you for that. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because I look to trees for my inspiration on how I should be living.
Mm.
Um, do you think you've explained your orb Fulgurite theory as you want to present it? Or would you like
No,
to say some more
yeah,
about it?
definitely,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Right, right. In 15, I made some predictions, obviously based on this research,
Mm-hmm.
and I went out and had a look for some of this evidence throughout history, and I came across numbers of things, but the one thing was the Hans Glazier woodcut from 1561
Mm.
and 1565. I purchased those many years ago from the Zurich Library. I've only
Yes.
recently, I've only recently had that translated. I actually sent a copy to Cliff because it relates to his sun disease. Um, but what was explained, well, I was looking for a mechanism, if this is the creative force of how matter is formed. I began to understand the 96%. I just couldn't understand how mass was formed.
Mm.
And obviously, with the account and the woodcuts, the bars dropping the orbs out of the tail, um, three spheres in a bar, the holes in the orbs. I knew I was looking at the same thing, and also other processes that I haven't observed, because I'm not going to say I've observed them all. But in amongst that, the orbs fell from the sky, and steam was released, or that they suggested again, the UFO lobby suggests it's a crashing UFO, and I worked out the orb Fulgurite theory based on those observations and the text. It was pretty obvious to me. Um, I'll just backtrack a bit. When you film indoors, the orbs and bars move slower than when you're outside.
Hmm.
And I came to the conclusion that it's the electromagnetic field created by the wiring of anybody's house that's actually slowing them down,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see
right?
that.
So that they move slower inside than they do outside. But in magnetic hotspots, they move slower again. So obviously now we're developing this magnetism affecting the particle wave, slowing the thing down. And so all of a sudden we've got if the energy. So what would it take for us to see them? I've come off the orb Fulgurite theory, so I'll go back to that and try and explain that first, because
Okay.
that leads into a quicker rotation to the planet.
Okay.
So basically, what you're doing now is the orb in a higher energetic field will slow
Mm-hmm.
down. That will make it easier for us to see, because the speed at some of these things move is quick. Some of the video footage is slowed to a 30-second of normal speed. So the orbs now are slowing down and they're picking up charge. So as they pick up charge, they become illuminated. So let's
Oh.
say over lightning, over volcanoes, you get orbs.
Hmm.
Increased electromagnetic charge and lightning actually illuminates the orbs over those places. Again, with nuclear power stations and military installations that have nuclear power, nuclear weapons, it's just picking up that background radiation and illuminating them.
Okay.
So, so what I put it in simple terms is, obviously this electromagnetic field strengthening will slow the orb down. It'll make it pick up more charge. It'll make it then seen. So I'll give a little indication of what the whole Fulgurite theory is, and what geological samples I purchased.
Okay.
So you take a balloon that's transparent, representing your orb. You rub it on
Mm-hmm.
your head, representing the charge that it's picking up.
Uh-huh.
Right? You,
Yes.
you throw volcanic ash into, or tephra or silicate, but let's call it volcanic ash, because in solar minimums you have more volcanoes. So you
Mm-hmm.
throw volcanic ash into the air. It attaches to the orb. You see it. Lightning strikes it, and the stone fused sphere, or the fused
Mm-hmm.
orb, will fall to the ground.